Welcome along to a Team Talk special. With us today is Billy Davies, former Forest manager in two spells between 2009 and 2014. He took the Reds to two playoff semi-finals. He brought passion, entertaining football and controversy to the City ground. He's not spoken much in the 10 years since he's left, but he's with us today. Billy, good to see you.
Mark, it's a pleasure to join you. Not so much a pleasure to join McParland and Tyson, but certainly a very good pleasure to join you.
Well, that's good of you to say, Billy. I wonder, have you been back to Nottingham in the last 10 years? Because you are coming back soon.
Yes, we're coming back soon. We're doing a roadshow in February, which I'm looking forward to, meeting up with a lot of the staff and the guys and tremendous supporters of the club. So I'm very much looking forward to that, Mark.
Yeah, and so as well as some players, you've got Terry the Kit Man coming, is that right?
Well, it was important. We needed somebody on the stage to talk nonsense, and there's nobody better at talking nonsense than Terry the Kit Man. But no, seriously, Mark, when I sat down and the management team asked me to do this, obviously there was a whole range of people that we looked at, but certainly for what this guy brought to Forest, the type of character that he is, Terry Farndale, the type of person and the way they treated people, I'm absolutely delighted to have him on stage.
Can you remember when you first came to Forest? I can, because it spoilt my Christmas. Because there's so many. I think I got a phone call on Boxing Day to say there was a management change, and there was so much happening in the course of 3 or 4 weeks. And then you arrived in January 2009. Yeah,
I remember that very well, Mark. And I got a call. I don't know how many days before that from Nigel Doughty, who sadly we've lost. But I got a call from Nigel asking me to come down to the club and have a chat and, do what we've got to do, basically.
What was the state of the club at the time?
Well, the one significant factor I remember was the age of the squad. It was the youngest squad in the Championship. It was lacking in experience and know-how, if you like, professional know-how, just little bits of the game that was missing, and that came with the age of the team. But it certainly was full of talent. It certainly was full of ability. And we certainly had some tremendous prospects in there. But it certainly was a very young squad, Mark. And at the time, the youngest squad in the Championship.
And it was a squad, I think I was right, Nathan, in saying it was struggling a bit in the Championship at the time.
Yeah, we were definitely struggling. I remember that game, it was Colin Colwood's last game, Doncaster, on Boxing Day. We lost 4-2, and you could just sense that it had been grumbling away, and we just couldn't, it just results just weren't going our way, and a change needed to happen. But I remember, Billy, you coming in that first training session. Oh, wow, that was an eye-opener. You filmed it. And he filmed the training session. Next day he came into the meeting and we just had a taste of what things to come. And to be fair, it was exactly what we needed because the intensity in training when he first come in was, and then we changed it to the next time. It was unreal, massive difference, huge.
What was your plan then, Billy, when you come into a team that's struggling like that and you said a young team? What's your sort of 1, 2, 3 of the things you need to do when you come into a team?
Well, I think the first thing, having spoke to Nigel, we obviously agreed. Nigel's words were, get us out of this division, Mark. And over that period of time, it was important, first of all, to make sure that we didn't go down and get relegated. We had a big fight in our hands with that remaining 16 or 14, 18, whatever it was, games remaining. And it was a matter of getting in there, trying to lift the confidence, bring out the ability of the players that was there, and try and hang in there to the end of the season and then start to rebuild from there.
The one thing that struck me is that we've had lots of former players come on Team Talk and they all speak so highly of Billy and his ability to get a team playing and to work a team and to get a squad together.
I think what was most notable was it was about the team. We had a lot of, like Billy said, a lot of very talented individuals. And yes, we had got promoted, but we kind of broke away a little bit. And then Billy brought us all together. Obviously, the following season was, you could see, he needed a pre-season, solidified his philosophy into the team. It's about the team. So everyone had to make certain sacrifices long as it benefited to the team, and that's what he brought in, because the team spirit had to be. You had to be together, and as Billy's words were, the famous words were, "It's about us." In this changing room, it's about us, no one else.
Yeah.
Mark, can I just say, to add to what Ty said there, what he missed out on was it was a very easy pre-season training.
Who's going to expand on that one then?
The runs. Where did we go? Did we go Portugal? Was that Portugal that year?
I think it was Portugal, Tice, yes.
I
remember you crying on a very regular basis first thing in the morning.
Well, Billy, we just did another part of the show, and he was actually moaning about pre-season. Pre-seasons is had saying he didn't like the long distance running because he was a sprinter. So obviously that's what you're talking about.
No.
Now, listen, Chaz. The one thing about Tice only wanted to sprint the maximum of 20-25 yards every day in training. That was it. There was no other distance that he wanted to run.
That's harsh.
It was a quality 25 yards and a goal or a cross at the end of it.
Yeah.
Listen, that left foot had a lot of magic in it, and his pace was magnificent. Done tremendous job at Forest, and not only that, he was a pleasure to work with, and he was an excellent team player, which was more important.
You got that squad really working together, didn't you? In the sort of second season, the first full season. What pleased you most about that season, Billy?
Well, we knew, as I said earlier, Mark, we knew that the quality of the players, and we knew that we had a lot of good pace and excellent energy in that side. And all we needed to do was just make one or two corrections, one or two changes in advice and shape and pattern and what have you. And then just put a little bit more demand into the training session. I think that was important. But I think there was many changes, not only on the field of play, but also off the field of play. There was a lot of changes. And again, looking at the individuals, getting the best out of the individuals, and making sure that these individuals were very comfortable and very happy in the direction that not only they were going, but also where the team was going.
I do also remember you getting frustrated with, was it the Transfer Acquisitions Committee?
Well, Mark, every club's got its own setup. You've got to respect every club. And it was made clear to me right from the start about the role of, for example, David Pleat. David had the final say in all signings. David was the one that would sign things off, and that was up to the club, Mark. At the end of the day, the acquisitions committee was what the chairman wanted. My role in that acquisitions committee was to give the advice from the manager's point of view, who works with the players every single day, and the staff. And then from thereafter, it's then up to the board and up to the owners to go and make those financial decisions, which every club does.
Yeah, but when you look back on it, when you think, I'm thinking like Nicky Shorey, do you feel like if you could have secured someone like Nicky Shorey in that left-back position, that rather than being playoff semi-finalists, you'd have got promotion?
Well, I think if you look at the setup and the stage of the team, I think we just come off of a 3-1 victory at West Brom, if I remember. I can't quite remember. And at that time, the club was flying. But listen, again, Mark, all you can do is you can turn around and say to the board and the chairman, here's what you think. Here's my advice. You brought me in here to help you get better. Here's what I think we should do. But ultimately, it will be down to the finances of the club. And more importantly, it'll be down to whether David signs that off or not. What
were your emotions after the playoff defeats to Blackpool and the following season Swansea?
Well, the Blackpool one was very disappointing, obviously, because there's no doubt that it was a big challenge for us. Don't get me wrong, Mark, and I've said this publicly. Let's not be kidded here with Blackpool and Swansea, as if these are two lesser teams. These two teams were full of quality players. They were on a great season like ourselves. They had real talent in their team. And every playoff, no matter who you face, is always very difficult. But I've got to say, we were disappointed. Obviously, we knew that on the day we just didn't create enough and didn't do what was necessary. And sometimes these things can happen in the playoff.
Just in the Swansea game away, Billy, I thought you were very unfortunate. I thought you were doing really well in the game. and there was a Stonewall penalty, and I think Didsey got pulled back. And he always spoke about, before you used to listen in, going into playoffs or any game, you need a little bit luck in the playoffs. You need refereeing decisions to go against you. They can either go for you or they can go against you. And that night, I thought a couple of decisions went massively against you, especially the Didsey one when it was 0-0. You get that penalty, and when you Nottingham Forest at that time under your stewardship, when you went ahead, you were very difficult to beat. You know. Then we look at the playoff games at Wembley when me and Mark went down with Huddersfield Forest. The actual decisions went for Nottingham Forest on that day, where Huddersfield had 2 Stonewall penalties turned down. You know, that is the small margins, you know.
Yeah, I think the good thing was the words of Brendan Rodgers after the game. Brendan was very complimentary about our performance, and he's right. Although they broke away and got that third goal, we did hit the bar, we did hit the post. We probably should have had a penalty kick.
When it was 0-0, that's you know.
Yeah, in the second half, I thought we performed really, really well. We started to really go at them. Don't forget, David McGoldrick, I think it was, hit the bar in the first half. Yeah. And then they scored against her on a play. So, you know, you look back at these things, we all know that there's a very fine margin between winning and losing. But certainly, Brendan, as he said after the game, very, very unlucky, Billy. They probably deserved not to win the match. And in the end, they broke away and got that third goal.
Right, we're going to take a quick break, Billy. We're going to hear about your second spell at Forest and a bit about what you think of Forest today in a moment after this. Welcome back to a Team Talk special with former Forest manager Billy Davies. And Billy, I think what we've learnt over the years, it's not easy to get out of the Championship. It took Forest a heck of a long time to get out there. I wonder what you've made of Forest's performances over the last 2-3 seasons.
Well, first of all, Mark, I think we've got to give great credit to Steve Cooper and the wonderful job that he done getting the club out of the Championship into the Premier League. Once you get to the Premier League, it's all about that support or that commitment from the guys above. That's very important. And I've got to say, I think he was very unfortunate to leave Forest because he did do a wonderful job. Once you get past the first season, I think that's important. You can then become a stronger side, a more competitive Premier League club. And as you see with Forest currently, as each season goes by, you can see them growing in confidence and also growing in stature. And they've now become a very, very good competitive Premier League club.
Just to take you back to your second spell at Forest in under Fawaz 2013, what regrets do you have about that time, that period?
Well, I don't think you ever have any regrets. I think what you do is you make decisions at that time, under those circumstances, with the information that you've got and what's going on around you. And I think we can all sit back in life, Mark, and we all know that hindsight is a wonderful thing. But certainly, at the time, you make the right decisions for the club, you make the right decisions for the team, and you try and do what is best to go and get those, if you like, those achievements that you're trying to hit, and also those demands from the owner in relation to what he was wanting. Don't forget Fawaz's words. He wanted the third star. So when you go into a club with that type of intent, then you know what the situation is.
But you know, it was a difficult time, wasn't it, Billy? I mean, you know, long-serving servants of the club left. There was the issue with the journalists, that most of them were sort of not welcome at the City Ground for a time. And I just wonder if, you know, you look back and think, maybe, you know, we could have made more peace along the way there.
Well, I think there's a little bit of misguidance there, Mark, to be honest with you. First of all, a manager doesn't ban journalists. That doesn't happen. That's a club decision. Also, there was 59 press conferences which I done, and everybody in the press were more than delighted to be invited along. The door was open for them, and some chose not to do that. So, at the end of the day, Mark, as I said to you earlier on, there is a little bit of misguidance and misinformation, which we know doesn't exist. But in relation to banning journalists, managers don't do that. In relation to press conferences, media blackouts, there was no such a thing. And then, of course, into the very first question that you talked about there in relation to the club. The club make these choices, Mark. The club decide what way they want to go, what decisions they want to make, and how they can go forward.
I guess I just wish, Billy, that everyone had got together in a room and sorted it all out, because I felt that I've sat here in this room with many good players who sing your praises, and that period didn't do you particularly well. I think it's sort of tainted you a little bit. I don't know. Do you feel bitter about that at all?
No, I don't. At the end of the day, that's what the press have got a job to do, and we can't stop how they go about their business. My job is to win football matches. My job is to get the best out of players. My job is to focus firmly on trying to pick up points, and we did that, Mark. We picked up those points. We eventually left the club in March 2014. 10 serious injuries, 9 games remaining, 2 points outside the playoff. But I'll tell you what's very interesting, Mark, through all of these so-called fallouts and troubles. On the 24th of January 2015, I got a call from Fawaz Al-Asawi. He flew me down to London Mayfair, and he said to me that he had listened to the wrong people and he would like me to come back to the club as manager. Then go forward, 2017, January the 9th, 2017, I get a call again from the owner to tell me again that he wants me to come back as manager. He's listened to the wrong people. And finally, I think it was June 2019, he tries to buy Bolton. He calls me up. He asked me if he gets the club, would I come back to the club as manager? I think that explains a lot, Mark.
I think I was at the club at that period, and it was a very difficult period for Billy. And Billy was doing his job because we were winning football matches. And I think there was a lot of firefighting going on that Billy had to try and put the fires out. It was a very, Fawaz was very unpredictable.
Yeah.
Yes. So regarding all the press stuff, and Billy's just touching it, managers can't ban the press. Billy didn't ban the press, or whatever. The door was open, it's up to the powers above. They made the rules. Billy got on with winning football matches, which he did. As soon as he came into the club to take over, the club was struggling. They won 6 in a row, catapulted up the league. And you can only do that. And I think, I can't remember in that year you were at the football club, Billy, what was the win rate? Was it 60, 70%?
13 defeats in 59 matches, Charlie.
Yes. So again, we should be talking about the football here and working personally with Billy. I've worked with Billy, I've worked with Roy Keane. People say, what's it like working with Billy? What's it like working with Roy? There's a wee bit this, that. I said, no. You know what you have to do. They're straight down the middle, fantastic football people, and Billy. So, and you look at that, it just explained what that, and that's what you're there for, to win football matches.
Yeah, I guess I'm just conflicted because, obviously some of my journalistic colleagues would take a different view. But then again, Billy, you'll remember this day. I used to organise the BBC East Midlands Sports Awards, and you were awarded Coach of the Year. Was it 2007? And on the day of the awards, you were sacked from Derby County, but your captain, Matt Oakley, and Big Stevie Howard came along to accept the award on your behalf. And Matt Oakley gave the most impassioned speech. He was so upset and he was so grateful for what you had given to him and the team. And like I said, people like Kelvin come on here, Perchie, Nathan's here, who all say great things about you. So I see like a complete confliction there.
Yeah, I remember that time, Mark. I think it was the Sunday that I got the sack. I got a call from Adam Pearson to head down to the training ground. Obviously, when that happens, then it's chaos down at my house. There was all sorts of fans outside the house. There was all sorts of fans down at the training ground. It just became chaos, Mark, for the family, for my children. And I decided, rather than going to the BBC the following day, I just decided that it may be better for the club, better for everyone that I took the family away out of that environment and left these two guys, two wonderful players, Stevie Howard and Matt Otley, to do their thing.
Yeah. So what now? I mean, you know, you guys speak glowingly of Billy, and you know, we probably feel like 10 years is a long time out of the game. Billy, are you ready to get back in there? Would you like to manage again? What are you thinking?
Well, I was in the perfect storm, I would say, Mark. When I left Forest in 2014, I was then involved in a long-standing dispute with the previous owner. In addition to that, I certainly believe that I was horrendously advised by people and organisations that should have known better, particularly people on the non-footballing side. I think when you look at the advice and you look at what took place then, I would say to you, I was horrendously advised. Then what happens after that, in no particular order, a pandemic comes in. I then find out about terrible health issues with my family, which was a huge number of years as well, which I won't go into. And then, of course, after that, I decided to build qualification. I decided to do club visit. I decided to do as much continued personal development as possible. I've been abroad. I've been to games all over the country. And quite simple, Mark, I'm very excited about getting back in. I'm now more than ever ready on and off the pitch to go back in. And I'm looking forward to that next challenge.
And Nathan, one thing you would say about Billy is that he prepares, doesn't he? You know, statistics, his video editing at home.
Yeah, you know, that's drilled into us even to this day. There's things that Billy and the coaching staff taught me in the short time that I was with him that I use in my everyday life. And there was one saying he said in the meeting, he said, you might not think that I'm right now, but when you come to finish football, you look back on it and you say, he was right, and he was.
So what level are you thinking of, you know, you get back into management at, Billy? Where realistically do you think that will be?
Well, it's about winning football matches. At the end of the day, Mark, it's all about winning games. It's all about making teams better. It's all about making players better. It's all about turning economics of every club around. And if that's the case, then I look forward to the next challenge, no matter where that is. And as I said, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it, and I'm very much prepared and ready.
Yeah. Would you go League One? Are you looking Championship? You're looking Scotland? Where are you thinking?
I'm open-minded, to be honest, Mark. I'm very open-minded. It's more about the project, isn't it? It's more about the club and what the club's ambition is and where the club sees itself going medium to long term. I think it's all about the project more than anything. And I'm excited about taking on that project, like Forest the first time, like Forest the second time, like Derby and Preston when I took over these clubs. It'll be the same again. I'll go in there, I'll make pre-season very, very simple and light, as Tice would confirm. I'll make sure that we go and don't work too hard on the training ground. And we'll be very lucky and we'll continue to win matches, hopefully.
I don't believe that,
No, I
but
think
you?
that was a slight dig at Tice.
I worked hard, come on.
Look, Billy, it's great to see you and great to tell your stories and hear your humour. Thanks very much for being with us, and all we can say is it is what it is. Billy Davies, thank you very much.
Thanks
All
very
the
much,
best.
Billy.
Thank you very much.